Hi guys, I'm Rez, and you're about to watch episode 6 of the Fireside Chat, which is a monthly podcast, Twitch stream, something where me, Jin Lee, Lidz87, 40 the Broadway Saiyan all get together and just chat about the most recent happenings in DFFOO. So usually we try to do them the Tuesday or Wednesday after the community stream. So this time we talked about the exciting new quality of life updates that we got, like Auto Plus and the 10 ticket draw. We talked about Transcendence. We talked about upcoming bursts. We talked about the current Tidus glitch. Talked about a lot of different things. So if you want to watch, go ahead. My fellow co-host Jin Lee also has a recording along with his own intro and thoughts, so definitely check it out. And yeah, hope if you're able to make it live, thank you so much. And if you're watching now, thank you too. Hope you have a great rest of your day.
Hopefully the lag is okay for you guys on the glow side of the game. I know it's a little horrendous. Hopefully you guys were able to acquire your burst weapons, your free burst weapons.
If there were ever something for me to get nothing on the free multi, this would be it.
Right.
So I'm going to do it right now.
Okay. Good luck.
Oh, you want burst tokens at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd rather get a free burst of like a weapon one I don't have. If I had to choose when I get a free burst.
Yeah, here we go. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Fireside Chat podcast. That's what we're calling ourselves. This is episode 6. Thank you guys for joining us for pretty much our half-year anniversary. Ooh, that's exciting. Let's go. So those of you joining us for the very, very first time, this is a monthly podcast, not a weekly podcast, a monthly podcast where the hosts, come together and we have a chill time. We drink drinks, we talk opera omnia, and that is the main goal of this podcast, just to have a relaxing time while discussing opera omnia. So imagine like we're at a bar drinking.
Look at this shit.
Oh my god!
See, exactly. That's what happens when you're at the bar, and then
I knew it. This is where I was gonna get.
Don't complain about burst tokens.
I know. I'm just saying, like, I called it that I was gonna get free burst here.
Congratulations.
Sorry. I'm not actually mad, but it's like, of course, this is the one where it happens. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
Congrats, your diamond shoes.
Congratulations.
Okay, Jen, you have no right to be saying that right now.
I'll say that's what happens during this podcast, guys. So welcome. But those of you not familiar, let's go ahead and introduce the host, starting with 40. Please tell them who you are and what you are drinking tonight.
What's up, guys? This is 40 the Broadway Saiyan. I primarily do DFO content, although I've been expanding my, content creation. Again, I started bringing back trading card game openings. I will be doing Disgaea RPG when that mobile game goes live. And Laharl's the best character in Disgaea. No questions asked. And I am drinking, I don't have alcohol tonight, but I'm drinking something called Center. It is a sparkling CBD drink. It's a sparkling CBD drink. It has CBD in it. So it's very good.
Very nice. That sounds good. Jin Lee, how about yourself?
Hey, I'm Jin Lee. I am the Vincent main.
Yes.
I main Vincent in everything I do. And I do meme pool videos that make people salty nowadays. People are getting saltier and saltier. I love it, really. And yeah.
Yeah, so if you guys want to see some Vincent runs, check out Jin Lee's channel. And Rez, how about yourself? Who are you and what are you drinking tonight?
I'm Rez. I'm drinking a White Claw, as usual. I do a lot of poll videos and action content for DFFOO and Tales of Christopher and Fire Emblem Heroes. And I don't want to wake him up, but Teddy is on my lap right now, and I just got Lightning Burst, like I predicted. So
that's burst tokens right
Cheers.
there. You had it, right?
Yeah, that was the one that I did. At least that was one where I luck sacked.
Okay.
If it was gonna be Cloud, because I spent my burst tokens on Cloud. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess that
I am drinking coffee. Somebody's asking.
Nice. I was about to guess water, but coffee, that sounds great too. And finally, myself, I am Lidz. I am a content creator on YouTube, Twitch. I make how worthy are they videos, judging characters' kits to see how worthy they are for your resources. And tonight I am drinking what is known as Jack Daniels with some like seltzer water. And I just want to give a thank you to Infamous for the sub. So I appreciate that, fam. So, all right, guys, let's go ahead and start with tonight's show. So recently we did receive a Square community live stream. What's today? Wednesday. So 2 days ago about upcoming events. So I do want to ask my fellow host what you guys are most excited for. Anybody? Hello?
We already know who we're excited for.
Yeah. Is there?
I'm excited for
What?
the nice leotard lady
Of-
and the beautiful flower dress lady. And then there's the unmentioned lady that is unmentioned. That's gonna be the most OP character release with her new rework is Serah.
Do you guys think she would get a rework on the global side of the game as a global first?
I mean, honestly, that would be really, really awesome. I'd be super hyped about that. I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, the way that Joshua was kind of hinting, special surprise, because obviously Serah wouldn't be a surprise because she's already kind of part of the schedule.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That would definitely
be dope.
I definitely agree. Now I know she didn't get a lot of love on the JP side of the game in terms of what she received for her healthy, her kit itself. So a lot of players do want to skip her out. But if she did happen to get a rework, that would definitely be interesting. Now, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I don't think anybody was talking.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were literally about to say something. No. Rez, how about yourself? What did you enjoy the most from this community live stream? What are you looking forward to?
Celis and Aerith, as long as they don't make me pity them both back to back, that would suck. But other than that, Auto Plus, I'm a big Auto person. So Auto Plus is going to be great. I am actually a little bit nervous about the ticket multis because it is so easy to just tear through gems when you're doing multis. It's going to be that much easier to do it with tickets, and I'm not in a good place with tickets right now.
So let's go ahead and talk about that 10 ticket multi-draw feature that was introduced to the global side of the game. Now I do believe it was introduced a little bit earlier compared to the JP side of the game. Now, as Rez mentioned, she is a little afraid because she's going to be burning through them tickets a lot faster. Do the rest of you feel the same way?
Yeah, because I've experienced this already on JP, where you could get extremely lucky or get massively burned. And I've been massively burned on a few LD weapons already after they released it. Like sometimes it's better to do singles depending on the amount of tickets that you have. Because you could have 300, but that 300 can just poof, gone. Because it's not a guaranteed gold. So it's a good thing, but it's also a risky... If it's risky depending on how many tickets you have in your inventory.
Right.
Well, it'll definitely make pool videos faster, especially if there are like a lot of tickets you're going through. But I mean, I would say like it doesn't change that much for me. It would just be more convenient because I would be like, okay, I'm going to use 200 tickets for this banner, and just the 200 tickets would be gone faster than I expect.
Right.
But otherwise, I would try to stick within the 200 limits. I mean, at most, I would waste like 9 tickets, I guess. But I do know people that are like, you know, those really like dingy hoarders and stuff. I do know that they're planning on still doing single tickets just because, you know, they could save however many tickets out of that 10 ticket draw if they get the weapon earlier. So it is kind of like a, yeah. If you're not doing videos, it might be safer to do single tickets, but I'd say people recording their ticket draws definitely helps.
I can definitely agree for you on that one, especially on days when events go live, and if you're a content creator yourself, if you're like live streaming and you're trying to do single pulls and the actual event, the lag is there, it definitely prolongs you know, your ticket pull session. But if you did the 10 ticket pull multi-summon there, then that definitely speeds up the process. Now I will say that I'm on the same page as Rez. It is a little nerve-wracking because 10 ticket pulling on the JP side, I know for a few of these banners, like, hey, let me do a 10 ticket pull. Like, oh, okay. It just went by. It went by so quickly. I'm like, all right, let me do another one. Oh, okay. That was. Let me do another one. So you're going to have some strong willpower in order to have self-control in terms of the 10 ticket pull. And I do agree with Jin Lee in that for, I guess, non-content creators and I guess non-laggy days, so to say, that you guys should probably stick to the 1 ticket pull plan just in case, because you might pull an LD weapon or a burst weapon. You never know. Maybe like 3rd ticket in, and you could save those extra 7 tickets. That could be Unit's burst weapon later down the line. You never know, but yeah, that's how I definitely feel about the 10 ticket pull. So it could be a blessing.
I do know that. Yeah, I do know that most people will obviously not have the patience to do single tickets. Yeah. So I would recommend that always, like, before you go into a banner, just have like a set amount that I will do this and I will stop here, and then it'll just be over faster. That's all. But definitely you should have a limit rather than just go in willy-nilly.
I agree, and I know Jin Lee has a rant video about saving your resources on the global side of the game, so definitely check that out if you'd like to learn more. All right, guys. So now Rez did mention the Auto Plus feature that we are receiving this earlier on the global side of the game, because I think, guys, did we get that on the JP side during, what was it, Divine Brothers? Is that when we got it? I don't recall.
I think it was Divine Brothers.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely got all of these earlier. We definitely got all of these earlier than JP for sure.
I'm not gonna lie. I was not expecting that. It definitely came out of nowhere, but it is definitely a nice surprise. So those of you not familiar, we do have an auto feature in Opera Omnia, but now we have something called Auto Plus. So when you activate Auto Plus, you have to go in the battle screen. I haven't tried it out on the global side of the game. This experience is coming from JP, is that once you're in the battle screen, you're actually in the actual gameplay. You hit the pause button, and then you have to check an Auto Plus feature. So it's just Auto Plus. When you select Auto Plus, your characters will literally start using their abilities instead of their standard Brave or HP attack. So they'll start off with, what was it, their LD abilities first, then they'll use their EX abilities. EX first, so EX abilities first, followed by their LDs, and then they'll alternate between their other 2 abilities. So drastically improving your farming speed if their LD abilities are fast. So how do you guys feel about that? Are there certain characters are you looking forward to using for the Auto Plus grind? And we can even extend this out to Divine Ramuh, who we have literally in a few days.
I can confirm that you have to go into the battle and go to the pause button to change to Auto Plus for the very first time, and then it's Auto Plus always set afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And pretty much
for Auto Plus?
You are looking for like for me, I was looking forward to Auto Plus because of mainly story chapter, because I was always super lazy with story chapters. The grind of it all, like actually having to press buttons that were like ridiculously easy. So I have a couple of story chapters that I do plan to finish finally now with Auto Plus.
Okay.
And the good ones are obviously the fast LD, because everyone uses LD first if their EX isn't started opening.
Right.
So pretty much you choose like the hardest hitters with the fastest LD animation. And I'd say obviously Kuja is a good one. And actually I found Reno to be pretty good because it's really fast, and it's he has 4 uses of it, and he actually, if it's a difficult boss, then they actually wouldn't be able to do anything either. And I actually combined him with the Cryo, who starts with her EX and can give a Brave refund with that EX. And then she will also paralyze people with her LD, and with Reno's LD together, like Reno's debuff stays on if the unit is paralyzed, so it kind of can do some pretty difficult bosses. So, and then I throw in Charlotta in there for the HP damage up.
Gosh, damn.
Or it depends on what content you're doing, but yeah, that's kind of like what I kind of experimented and saw was pretty nice.
What's it? Jin has a full team for this. Damn, that's amazing. There you go, guys. 40, how about yourself, fam? Is there any units you're excited, looking forward to using? Is there someone that you plan on using already for Divine Ramuh in the near future?
Well, Divine Ramuh Lufenia is the orb is delay, so it's tame, and we have plenty of very good units that can handle that. Like Ramza is perfect for that. Cloud is perfect for that. Emperor, obviously, if you're gonna pull for him, because he's synergy. But I'm pulling for Celes or Celeste, however you say her name, because I love FF6, and I don't care what anyone says. That leotard costume reminds me of Cammy, so I'm buying that. So I'm taking her for that, and then I'm not really interested in Emperor. I am actually not interested in any of the burst characters for this month, having experienced them on JP. So I'm probably gonna pass on them and go with like Cloud and Ramza for that fight. But Auto Plus, I mean, I think I'm just gonna go with a full synergy party just for the points. And I mean, for speed, maybe I'll switch in Kuja. We'll see.
Okay.
But I'm excited nonetheless, and that's pretty much my plan for Divine Ramuh.
Okay. And how about yourself, Rez? Have you thought about Divine Ramuh already? Auto Plus? Have you experimented with it?
I have not thought about it at all. I'm just going to do whatever is the fastest and most efficient because, like I've said many times, my thing is best ROI, return on investment. So whatever ends up being the most efficient, the fastest, what have you, that is what I will do. But yeah, as for burst weapons this month, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for my girl Tara. I am so fucking ready for her. But that's a topic for next time. But yeah, very excited for Celes and Aerith. I love the leotard. Is there anybody that doesn't love the leotard?
I didn't mind it.
There is one person.
I know that Black Nero told me that he told some of us that he didn't really like it because it looked like she's from the 80s.
Well, I mean, when was that game made? It just, pays tribute to the OGs. I don't mind it. She looks like one of those badass warrior.
I think she looks fantastic.
Princesses or queens from like back in the day. I think it's badass, truthfully.
She looks like Cammy. It's an homage to Cammy. Yeah, I know Josepher says he said it looks like a colorful mess from the 80s.
I really don't mind it. It gives me like what is it? He-Man, the old school He-Man vibes. You know what I'm saying? So hey, maybe someone that's square likes He-Man.
Workout video. I will buy it and even.
It's a ladies workout video.
Installments of $29.99.
Hey guys, I know what we're doing for our next podcast. But Auto Plus. I'm definitely excited.
Lidz is completely confused now from leotard images, workout images. He's flustered.
We're gonna do that for the next one. But yes, Auto Plus for me myself, I'm definitely excited about that. I have been wanting this feature on the global side of the game, especially. I think I'm more excited about the retry feature, especially if you're farming. World of Illusions, if you're farming for those power or guard orbs and going all the way back to the actual menu, selecting your friend support, but just being able to just hit retry, it's going to speed up that process much faster, especially when farming, a divine summon, so divine Ramuh. So I'm going to be trying out Kuja, see how that goes. Sephiroth is another option depending on the synergy I run with him. So but yeah, I'm very definitely excited for that.
Are you talking about as a friend unit?
No, so what I did on this is a different unit on the JP side of the game. So I would run an off synergy character and run 2 synergy characters for the extra points. But at that time, I would run Tifa because Tifa can absolutely shut down divine summon board farming, and I did time it when I brought a full synergy team compared to just running Tifa with 2 other units, and honestly, like, she was much faster. And in the long run, I was able to acquire more points. So in terms of friend supports, I mean, for that, unless you're doing it manually, I wouldn't run a friend support, especially if you're just going to auto plus it. So I'm hoping that just, Kuja with Emperor just as LD and possibly one of the other synergies would be more than enough to grind Divine Ramuh in a relatively fast pace. Ideally.
Yeah, I'll have to see personally whether Auto Plus will be faster.
Now, do you guys think it would work though?
I do want to get it done over as quickly as possible.
I definitely agree with you. And if you guys are newer players, I highly advise you guys get the divine summon board grind over with, because as soon as this synergy goes away, it's going to be a while before they rerun it, and it's an absolute drag to get the points for the divine summon, for the divine Ramuh summon board.
Moogle Pass affects it too, right?
No.
No?
Yeah.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Yes. I'm sorry.
Yes, it does.
I was thinking
Yes,
about.
it does.
I was thinking about
So
the tomes of experience.
If you can get the $5 Moogle Pass, get it, because it will save you so much sanity. Yeah, like Halcyon said, get the regular Moogle Pass instead of a coffee.
True. Oh, but it's coffee though. No, you can't pass on coffee. What's wrong with you?
It is a little bit more expensive for like other countries, but yeah, I would say it's worth it to get it between divine boards at least.
Totally.
If you don't get it consistently, just get it for the divine boards, and then you can do arts at the same time during that time.
I mean, Slim, are we talking about Starbucks coffee? Because that ain't cheap.
I don't drink coffee, so it doesn't apply to me, but
Starbucks coffee is more expensive.
That's a White Claw then.
yeah.
That's a White Claw.
But I mean, I guess if you guys are mentally prepared, you can do it without the Mog Pass. You don't need it. It does speed up the process. But I mean, how many weeks do we have with this? Like 2 weeks?
2.
Time is money, my friend.
Time is, yeah. No, I mean, not in this game. You're not earning money, I guess. I mean, you do events in an hour and you're done. That's
do other stuff in life.
Who are you asking? Everybody else or me?
Everybody in general.
Last night, I was about to take a nap, and then Halcyon comes upstairs and he's like, I just wanted to let you know that I know you weren't planning on, doing the Lufenias for Act 3, Chapter 1, Part 2, but there are some limited time rewards. And it was like 7 p.m. I didn't even realize that there was Baron Castle that I had to go through. I had to do all the floors there, and I had to do both Lufenia fights. And so I was doing that in the last hour and a half. Shout out to Halcyon for taking over all of cooking so that I could handle the Lufenia. Normally we split it, but he took everything over. But I did it with 2 minutes to spare. So
nice.
Actually, that's a good idea to like always put off stuff until it's cooking time, and then you're gonna have to do it.
That was my master plan. No.
There you go. On days that you don't want to cook, hey, I got this thing to do, and I'll promise you.
So it evened out.
Very
But it was
nice.
delicious.
Halcyon the champ.
There you go. OP.
I know.
Halcyon and Opera Omnia went both Lufenia's first try. Very impressive. Ooh, good
I work
job.
best under pressure.
Oh my jeez.
At least that's what I tell myself.
It's first try because she used Vincent. Vincent is always the first try.
I used Vincent and Balthier. I used Vincent on one and Balthier on the other. So like LD first type.
Nice.
So speaking about Vincent, now that we've had a little bit more time with Vincent, do you guys still strongly feel the same way as you guys did a month ago about Vincent? If he's still good, if he's bad? I know Jin Lee loves Vincent, so I don't know if Jin Lee wants to start off on this one.
If you want me to start, yeah. I mean, like, I know that I was like defending him more or less. It wasn't really defend, but I was just saying that he was fine before. But actually, I mean, even for me, someone who already kind of liked his kit prior, he's impressed me even more than I expected, because I didn't expect his attack down combined with his like high armor and everything together to be so ridiculously potent. Like I knew it was from like the 35 CP area, it would be like that, hitting ones. I didn't expect it to be like that for Lufenia. I didn't expect it to be like that for level 220 fights, for him to make the bosses to hit ones. So like, and his follow-up hits so damn hard because like he has the EX buff that has brave damage up for debuffs. And so like every fight, even if it's thunder absorb, fire absorb, he has the follow-up to re-break them.
Mm-hmm.
And he just makes like, I tell people like, it's kind of hard to see the value of Vincent unless you use him consistently. Mm-hmm. Then you will see how much easier he makes fights. Like he pretty much made Lufenias into like chaoses for me. And I joked that I was seeming like a hipster for using Vincent, but he was actually a meta unit that I was stomping Lufenias with. So I was like getting this hipster cred for Ash, but then he was actually just making my life really easy because all those Lufenias, like it took me like one try, except for maybe a couple other ones, and that's it. It was really easy to run him with all the last events. I ran him in every single event since his release.
That's amazing.
And he's
The
just
Vincent saga.
he impressed me way more than I thought he would be.
And you have recorded videos of those runs. If you guys want to see some Vincent gameplay,
they're all on my
finest,
channel.
on Jin Lee's channels.
I think like it took a while for people to like actually see it. Like I did keep using him because I felt like people weren't seeing it yet. And I think that the Transcendence one is the pinnacle of where people are like, okay, yeah, he's pretty damn good, because he is your substitute if you don't have Gabron. Vincent is a fantastic substitute for Gabron, and he hits harder than Gabron.
Now
and he makes the runs safe too.
I'm gonna ask you, since I'm assuming that out of all our hosts here, you're the only one that ran Vincent on Transcendence, right? 40 and Rez, you guys didn't run.
I didn't use Vincent.
Yet,
No.
So
Okay. Now, Jin, how was he in actual Transcendence for you? So I'm assuming you took him on the left gate, if I remember correctly, on Crucible 1.
I took him on the left gate against those machine gun dudes, and they were like, their all attack HP attacks were doing like nothing. He's pretty much like a tank. So you put the attack downs on those dudes, they always HP attack, but they can't even HP attack me out of my overheal.
And then you brought him to. Did you bring him on a Reckoning? Yeah, right.
I brought him on Reckoning
against
too.
the Hot Wheels.
Yeah, and they absorb fire, but it didn't really matter. He would. You can use most of your skill 1s on the first wave, and then on skill 2 for the second wave. But I kind of mixed both because I like attack downs all the time. So I didn't care if he got absorbed, because then he just re-breaks them anyways. And he works fantastic with Pestle because HP damage up with his follow-up on everything he does is so much damage.
That's great. That's amazing.
The only thing, it makes the run really easy. Just the only thing that you're missing from Gabron is the insta break.
Mm-hmm.
So you do need, like, I used Ramza in that case to fulfill the launching role and the insta break. So that's the substitute for Gabron, and they cover the launch roles as well. And you can bring launch calls if you need as well. I just took, I did it in one try. I did have to reset on the second wave because I didn't save enough launches for all 3 HP points. But then once I realized that, I need to save my launches, then I got it on my second try.
That's amazing for a character. I know that there was a lot of debate over in terms of how good he was being introduced on the global side, for the hype, for the LD, for him not receiving boards or rework. The fact that he was used in endgame content, mind you guys, currently on the global side of the game, our endgame content is currently Transcendence, that he was being used there. That's beautiful. That's amazing to me. So, way to go, Jin Lee, on showing off Vincent and sticking to your guns, so to say, and defending Vincent, because I'm on that boat. I do believe that he's a great character, and you being able to prove that in endgame content, that's just great, man. So
I do just want to add that, the reason that I kept running him was because it wasn't like to prove my point, like to defend myself, because I do recognize if a character would be worse or better than I expected. It's just that I wanted to show, like, hey, you should really use him because it makes your life a lot easier. And I will say that because he's a GL first, the content does not account for him. So if he was an actual released character on the proper timeline, there would probably be a lot of attack down resistances for next fights because they would shut him out. But there is, like, they didn't account for him. So, like, all these fights so far, attack down is not resisted, and so he just makes them completely shut down.
So, all right, so this is going to be an interesting topic now in terms of LD Global. First, I think this is a good tie-in. Now, we all know that a certain bug was found on the global side of the game, and definitely, I can't tell you how many times I have been asked, have you seen Tidus's Tide Pods bug? So that has definitely led to players believing that it's possible that Tidus may be receiving their LD weapon early in place of Serah. Now, before I ask you guys for your opinion, I And I'm for either or, truthfully, because I want to say no, because I do believe that it might have been a copy and paste error. But on the same token, on the history of Opera Omni, I do know that someone at Square Enix loves Tidus, and they love to bring his stuff early to the global side of the game. So I asked my fellow host, what do you guys believe? Do you guys think Tidus will get his LD early, or it was literally just a bug and a mistake?
I'm more leaning towards it's a mistake, but what could potentially happen is because it's there, I think it's possible that they might rectify it by giving it to us early. Although that does break their whole rule about global first LD, because technically it's not a global first LD since JP already has it. But if they did release it early because of this, it's a pretty powerful LD. It's a really powerful LD to have early, and will definitely help with upcoming content. But at the same time, it's also going to shake up pull plans for a lot of players, especially for those that are free to play or, have already made their plans for the month. So, but it's powerful. But I'm more leaning towards. I think it. I don't think it was intended to be there, but we'll see. I actually thought it might have been an early April Fool's. I don't know, because April Fool's is right around the corner.
It is. So be careful, guys.
Yeah.
I would say it's a mistake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because he's really strong, number one, and number two, it's because I forget which of the features came with him, but like Auto Plus or the 10 ticket draw, one of those came with him. So I think like when they implemented those quality of lives, then Tidus kind of came with it by accident, and then they're kind of like, oops.
That's true.
Because so I still think it's Serah, and I still hope it's Serah. But if it is Tidus, then definitely everyone should pull on him. He's not going to be somebody that, I mean, obviously JP already has him. Everyone already knows how good he is. So there is going to be no controversy with him if he gets a early LD first. That's for sure.
Okay. I mean, fair enough points. And Rez, how about yourself? What do you think about the one they call the Tidus? You think he's gonna be coming early?
I mean, when I saw all the stuff about like the DFFOO was bugged, I was like, am I playing Tales of Questoria right now? Because of how many bugs there still are in Crest. But I haven't even seen it. Is it still happening? Like, have they not fixed it yet?
I haven't checked since we got the Start Dash campaign, or since the spring campaign started. I don't know if you guys can confirm, or anybody in general can confirm if it's still a thing or not.
I think you have to have him at 2-3 or 3-3. I don't even have him at
Legion is still happening.
That's 0 out of 3 for me. But yeah, so if he does come early, which I don't think he will, I agree that I think it was a bug, but then would he just get his LD first, like in place of Serah or something? Or I don't know. But I think he's coming as planned.
See that?
Here.
No,
I'm hoping and thinking that it's Serah's early rework, like so that they can they can fix the mistake they did on JP, and also like quell all that controversy from Vincent, I guess. So yeah, they might give her early rework, because Josh did hint. He did hint about like something special. So, and Serah is definitely on the normal schedule.
Unfortunately, I was actually during a work meeting at the time. What was Joshua? What did he say in terms of a hint? Do you remember what he said?
I think wasn't it something about something special? I can't remember exactly, but I just know that we have like 10 free multi-draws, and there is no 11th banner, right? I mean, like, we are supposed to have 11 free multi-draws according to the slides.
Right.
But so far on the banners, we only have 10 shown. And so the 11th is a mystery, but it's supposed to be Serah. And Serah, everyone knows is coming, so that's not special or anything surprising. So if she does come out normally, it would have to be with the rework to make it special. Otherwise, it's just everyone's going to shit on her again, which is sad.
Okay. I mean, it very well might be Serah. I mean, you know that they try to keep things a surprise. They're like, hey, look, I don't know who this character is. It's obviously this character, but, you know, it's just something that they kind of have to do. But I mean, I guess we will officially find out during their next community live stream. But the thing that I just find weird is that, I hear that they just copy and pasted stuff over. I mean, we're still quite a few months away before Tidus receives anything on the global side of the game before he gets his. I don't remember if he did get a rework or not, but he did get some adjustments for his winning spirit buff, his EX buff, and he received his LD buff. So that we're seeing it now. So they're either maybe it was a copy and paste error, or maybe they're just trying to see how it will interact with potentially, I don't know, Balthier, for example.
Well, we did get the auto plus and the 10 ticket draw early, so it comes together with the
fair point.
That's why I'm guessing, at least.
Fair point. So yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see, you guys. That's for damn sure. But I would definitely be excited because that's, like 40 was saying, that's a broken character. For those of you that don't know, long story short, Tidus does a
it would destroy the meta. I don't know why. I don't see any reason they would do that. That's the main reason. That's the main reason I don't think he's coming, because it's kind of like not good for business. Yeah. Like, why give everyone a broken character that can stomp a lot of things?
So what would stop Tidus right now? Just the bosses that have their frame around them that resist being delayed? Would that be the only thing that can theoretically stop him, but he's still strong?
But like, his damage is still
it is insane.
Really good.
Like, if they were to implement him now, they would have to not even
I mean, like, we just got Squall, like, which is the follow-up, strong follow-up, and like, they wouldn't like have Tidus come right after, would they? I
mean, we are getting Garland soon, and he does very well in terms of follow-up damage. There's going to be some units that, in terms of follow-up damage, they can really dish out some nice damage.
Right.
So it would be interesting. No, that'd be too strong. You're right, Jen.
It's really strong.
Definitely is strong.
I mean, even Vincent's follow-up right now, like, it's pretty strong as hell, and people didn't expect it to be strong.
How many characters have follow-up damage? Right, we have we have Squawk, Garland, Tidus. What's his face? He's half naked. Yang, right?
Yes, Yang.
Vincent now. I can't think of any others off the top of my head, but I know that there was a point where I was like, "Gosh damn!" I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was a joke. Like,
Beatrix,
like
Machina?
every
Machina.
every rework will include a follow up, and that's the next power creep is follow up.
Jack Barrett, thank you, Barrett, amongst the first that did it with his satellites.
His was so sad. It was so sad before. But now with HP damage up, it's actually not too bad. Like, you put him.
Barrett is OP. Okay.
You put him with Pestle and Ball Theory. He actually does decent follow up.
I love Barrett. I used to use him all the time back in the day during the Chaos era.
Vaughn is the.
Oh yeah, VV.
Vaughn, Strago. Yeah, with his buff with the double follow up. So definitely a lot of strong follow up characters. So I don't know. We'll just wait to see for the official confirmation. Shadow Interceptor.
That's you, babe.
Actually, Strago with HP damage up is pretty insane on the AoE units.
Interceptor, did you guys solo DE9 with on the global side of the game?
I didn't even have Shadow at that time.
Through that.
I see 40 over here like.
No, I have no patience for that.
What did you?
I used like 3 characters for pretty much every tier, and then I ended up still with so many good unused characters by the end.
Exactly.
It's very unnecessary.
Wait, was it 7? Was that the one, or am I wrong? Or was it 9?
I think it was 9.
It was okay. So Halcyon said 7, so I just got confused for a second.
Actually, I think it was probably 7 then. I don't know.
No, he did 7 just for fun, but 9 is the one that is the one people try to use them mostly for.
Okay.
Why not both? Right?
Gotcha.
Just keep doing them both together.
Yeah, you had to have a lot of patience for that one.
It's 7 was the one that Zach.
There's already enough RNG in this game.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. So, great stuff. But we also did receive news in terms of something that was a part of the spring campaign, was that we are going to be receiving something that they kind of did for the anniversary, and that's going to be a daily ticket to pull on one of 3 banners. Now there's these 3 banners. They will cover series of Final Fantasy. So banner 1, Final Fantasy 1 through 7. Banner number 2, Final Fantasy 8 through 15, and banner number 3, Final Fantasy Tactics Type 0, Crystal Chronicles, and World of Final Fantasy. Now, do you guys believe that this is new player-friendly banners?
No. But I would say you can use your 33 free ones, and they will definitely be quite useful.
Mm-hmm.
But don't use your gems or tickets on them. Because there's just so much RNG. You can't you can't snipe like a specific unit that you want.
The chances
It'd just be so random. It'd just be so random. You get so many different random kits that are incomplete that you don't have power stones to complete.
Now, would you guys say? Now, I know that we're RNG. Yes, it is a thing. And aside from power stones, Noel, yes, free power stones. It is completely RNG. It really depends. But is there a banner? Do you guys believe that players should just absolutely throw their resource or their tickets on, especially if they're a newer player, to snipe specific units? For example, like Raijin, who we all know is an excellent unit, or Garnet, for example. Do you guys feel for that? Or if you're a newer player being introduced, you pulled on the Start Dash campaign. We know we have Squawk. Throw your banners for the banner number 2 that has, potentially Squawk's banners. Gear on there. How do you guys feel about that?
That's fine. Like, I'm assuming it will have G tokens. If it does have G tokens, then you're guaranteed at least 2 EXs you can choose. So for the unit that you need to complete, you can pull on that banner enough to go to 300 G tokens and get their EX. Because if it has G tokens, then you're guaranteed at least to be able to pick up who you want.
Right.
So if you somehow lucked into QoLs, LD, and Burst, and you have the other units, but you don't have his EX for some reason, then you can just stop and then wait on these banners and try to get his EX.
40, how do you feel about these banners for new players?
Just use those tickets. Because like what Jin said, there's a huge pool of weapons that you're pulling on, and you're at high risk of getting a lot of incomplete characters as a new player. So I would just go with the tickets and then use actual resources that you have for the upcoming banners. But if I were to pick a banner, if I were a new player and I were to save all 33 tickets for one of them, I think I would try to grab Warrior of Light's full kit and Cloud's full kit from the other one. That would be the goal. And then a second would be the second banner with 8 through 15, trying to grab at least Lightning. Because Lightning with EX only is still, I would say, decent. That can kind of carry you through some content, because, turn stealing, she does good damage.
She's not
I can't really...
the most new player friendly. I would say you'd have to learn how to use.
Yeah.
That's true.
Recently.
Yeah, you have to learn her rotations and learn her stances and stuff. But I would say value-wise, I'd probably put the first one with Warrior of Light, so you can have a tank that could carry you, and then you have Cloud with his utility, and then afterwards the other banner. I can't really say much about the other one, the World of Final Fantasy Tactics one, because not a lot of characters on that one. So
honestly, that's the one I'm going for, because I don't have the EXs on there. I actually have Syrian's LD, but I don't have his EX, so I'm gonna find it.
Kieran, yeah.
Or yeah, Karen. And I don't have the twins. Even after our rude pool battle, I still don't have the twins EX, so I'll get it now.
Oh, when we had our badass shades on, we were awesome.
Yeah, when we had the badass shades, and I got smashed, and I didn't get any of the twins. I got 8 Yufis.
Hey, she becomes OP. But Raz, how about yourself? What do you think about these new banners in general in terms for new players?
I agree with everything that's been said. It's really difficult because you can't snipe a specific weapon. I mean, I'm thinking about all those free multis that we got for the 3rd anniversary, and how I was missing 20 EX weapons on that banner, and I didn't, understandably, I didn't get a single one that I was missing. I got a few EXs, but the chance of getting a specific, I remember looking at the rates, and the chance of getting a specific EX weapon was on a multi was lower than getting a ticket burst. So it's if you're trying, and obviously it's not going to be the same on these because you're not going for every single EX weapon on one banner. But even if you're trying to go for 2 or 3 of the EXs there, it's not.
Right.
use of resources, especially when a lot of the EX only characters, a lot of the characters that would be worth getting, like they're worth getting because of their LD. There are certainly still characters that are really good with just their EX, but I don't think it's worth going in, with actual resources.
Actually, I do want to add that from what I said, I mean, I agree with Rez, obviously, but like when I mentioned G tokens, like Rez just mentioned the anniversary banner. If they do it like that, then the G tokens will just get you Power Stones or books too. So that would be unfortunate,
Right.
And it might be that case. So we might not be able to choose any EX that we want at all. So it might be a crapshoot.
I don't think they're going to be that generous, especially with all these free multi-draws that we will be receiving. I do believe that the most we can get is probably a book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. That's unfortunate.
So that being the case, though, if the most we can get is a book, then I highly recommend you guys stick to one banner, because if you're going to be spreading the love across multiple banners, so far to date, at least on both versions of the game, G tokens do not carry over multiple different banners. So if that is the case with these 3 separate banners, and if you are a longtime player, I'd probably recommend sticking to one banner, especially if you're trying to get that book. If you don't really give a damn, then, by all means. But yeah.
Right.
So imagine if G tokens ever did transfer banners. They never will, but
no. That would
That's something they never will do.
That would definitely increase the value of G tokens and make this game even more free to play, guys. Free to play friendly. I know that there is another game that actually does that, where the pity does carry over to other banners, but having that in this game, that would be insane.
That would be
insane.
Broken. Pretty much, you can just use gem values would increase exponentially, but
right,
it would be really hard to plan to like. Let me just do tons of gems YOLOs everywhere. And YOLOs would get that.
But that would be interesting because the players, because I have seen this before, that the players, they go pretty much to pity on the 500th G token, they get the burst banner. Like, hey, I'm gonna hold on to this for the following banner. Hey, thank you very much. I still get a burst. Oh shit. Banner out of this. Don't mind me, guys.
Yeah, the strategy completely changes of pooling. Yeah.
They never will. But if they did like sets of banners where you could save them, so like if I'm thinking, for example, if I do end up pitying Aerith and Celis, or like getting to the 300 G token mark for all of them, but I don't get Emperor Burst along the way, combining those two. That's the only situation where I could see that happening, but I also never see any of that. I never see like them combining G tokens at all happening. But if they did in a very unlikely future, I feel like that's where it would happen.
That's very interesting. I never thought about it that way. If they were to introduce a system like that, having the G tokens just carry across the timeline of a burst weapon, that would be
very generous.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, that'd be too generous.
You're pretty much guaranteed. I mean, if you pull wisely, but you're pretty much guaranteed to get almost every single burst character in the game. That would that'd be insane. But yeah, we will. I'm also on the. We'll never see a system like that in this game, but that would definitely be very interesting. All right, guys. So for those of you that were able to get into the very, very laggy, game on the global side of the game, I know I heard players were waiting for up to 30 minutes. Some players took 5 minutes. Some players were already in there. We did receive a renewal Start Dash campaign banner, and it did come with a free multi-draw. Now, if you are a new player, this is an amazing banner for you. Now, my fellow hosts, who do you guys recommend for new players to pull for if they are just coming into the City of Final Fantasy Opera Omnia out of the 3? So mind you guys, just a quick recap. Squall got a rework to his kit. He got LD boards. Pretty much he does his rough divide animation after every single HP attack he does. Lightning got LD boards. I believe it was higher potency with her LD ability, if I remember correctly. And Cloud more brave hits, and he did get a new special effect, Cloudy Wolf. I don't know if they kept the same on the global side of the game. So what do you guys think?
It's tough, but I know I know this might be a hot take. I want to say Cloud is the best one. Like for like overall, for like if you're like a newer player.
Uh-huh.
The reason why I say that is Squall could carry you through like a ton of content early on, but down the line, even with that follow up, he's gonna need characters like with aura that have like powerful auras to help him with that damage output. And also if you take a look at his burst effect, it's not the greatest, right? And he did get a pretty good LD board, that's like the highlight of his kit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for overall utility and just being able to be very versatile and not only dishing out a large amount of damage, but providing you with paralysis, providing you with dispel, providing you with a launch on command and awesome longevity, I think Cloud is probably the one that I would choose if I were a new player, starting a brand new account and all that, just because he's just so versatile. But I do recognize Squall's power now. He is extremely strong. It's just that later down the line, he's going to need a little bit more support to keep that damage output going, because you want to run him with a bunch of auras like Kurasame, Balthier, Paladin Cecil, and as a new player you might not have those characters. So
that's a fair point. Rez, what do you think?
Oh man, I don't know anything about any of their LD. Like I know, the basics about their LD boards, and I know that Squall becomes just like ultimate DPS. I mean, it's tough because they all kind of like they're all DPS, but they also all serve different purposes, especially with their burst abilities. Squall's burst effect being the first one out is probably like the weakest of the three. Just like Malachite Gaming just said. But they're all really good in their own right. Like there are still so many Lufenias that Lightning can cheese, obviously not the ones that do Thunder Resist or Thunder Absorb. But I think each of them have their points, so it's tough to say which one. It's Cloud, you can still run with like Final Fantasy Airlines teams for a little while and just get like a shit ton of damage off launch. Lightning you can delay into oblivion, and then Squall just does like a shit ton of damage. So I think anybody would be well served getting any of them. Right. They're pretty easy to like slot because they're mainly DPS. They're pretty simple to slot into a team comp.
Okay, fair enough. And Jen?
I mean, I like that 40 went on a limb and he answered differently than most people would.
Yeah.
People would expect you to say Squall. And I appreciate that 40 gave all those good reasons for Cloud. But I'll just give a counterpoint. Like, Squall is the next DPS tier. So if you're looking for the most reworked unit, it's going to be Squall. Mm-hmm. And obviously he's great for farming and everything else. So clearing out all the old. I mean, now that we have Auto Plus and they use Cloud's LD, I guess it kind of like changes it a little bit. But I would say it's definitely just the best banner you can use you can pull on as a new player. Like either way,
right?
And just choose your favorite. Lightning has a higher learning curve if you want to use her. Squall is pretty simple. Cloud actually is more complicated than Squall is, I would say. But yeah, you can't go around pulling on this banner with
no.
As a new player. Just go all out on this banner. Try to get all three if you can. It's definitely like a perfect. I mean, it's a lot of DPS, but it's definitely a great starting point as a new player to try to get at least all their LDs.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then end up choosing the burst of the person you like the most. You can test out who you like first, and then choose their burst if you didn't get any bursts along the way.
That's fair enough. You guys make great points. I didn't think about Cloud in that way. I know that they're all great units. They all do their things in their own way. I know I would definitely also recommend Squall for a newer player in terms of you're being introduced into the game. At least get Squall's LD because of his upgraded HP attack. It's going to let you farm story faster. It's going to let you farm the weaker stages much faster. I mean, I love Squall. You guys know me, Final Fantasy VII fan. You know, Final Fantasy VII is the best game. It got a remake. Come on, let's be real here. But for his utility, for his launch, like you guys mentioned, pairing him up with Opera Omnia Airlines, he fits in perfectly with that team. And Lightning, truthfully, she is an absolute monster, especially when it comes to single target just damage and free turns, back-to-back turns, free ability uses, and her auras towards the party. What was it 100% brave damage up towards the entire party in terms of, with her burst effect, Cloud, 50% brave damage up, with 50% critical brave damage up, which is a lot of damage. And Squall's, compared to those two, his is bad. I think it was an additional 50% to splash damage with his burst
effect. It's for splash damage units. So, yeah, it helps him a lot.
Yeah.
So in terms of farming faster, I definitely recommend Squall to the newer players. Between the other two, that's a little bit tougher because there are going to be stages that do absorb thunder-based damage, and that can shut out lightning, especially to newer players. There have been a few runs where, you know, with one of the more recent events where they did absorb thunder. I actually did use her on the stage that was absorb thunder, but with Paladin Cecil, and I was able to do that Lufenia, but I wouldn't recommend that for the newer players. But I would still recommend Squall at least getting his LD for the ability to farm a little bit faster. And I know that you definitely have to start thinking about team compositions in this game, but as we've seen, that supports last longer in this game compared to DPSs. So if you can pair Squall up with some good supports, I think he will still do fine in the long run. At least that's how I feel.
Especially because of the follow-up, like the same reason Vincent is really good. If you have Paladin Cecil still out, get Paladin Cecil, pair him up with Squall. There you go. There's some great damage.
Is Paladin Cecil still?
Oh wait, is he? I thought Theodore was the one that ended, right? I think he's still alive, right? Or he's not.
Paladin Cecil's still alive.
Oh
yeah, Pesso's still alive.
Peso, yeah. How long do we have for Peso? Oh, his LD banner is still up until the 29th, so you guys have 5 more days. Well, that's UTC time, so until... So what?
4 days.
4 days?
Yeah.
Get Squall, get Peso.
So if you're a new player, if you could get Squall, at least his LD and Paladin Cecil with his full kit, you are set. At excluding stages that absorb Holy, you are set. You are quite set, so good luck on your pulls if you guys are a newer player.
I feel like I wish my free burst could have gone to somebody else.
Now, do you have them all? How did your polls go, guys, on those banners? So Rez just got lightning burst dupe, right?
Yeah, burst dupe. I wish that free burst could have gone to somebody else. My polls this month have been very up and down. I tried ticketing Theodore. I used like 200 tickets for Theodore and didn't get his EX or his LD. I pitied Paladin Cecil LD. I used 300 tickets for Kai's LD, but I did get Paladin Cecil burst along the way, so that was good. And then Gabranth cleaned me out of all my tickets. I went down to 13 tickets with him. But I did get it. But this month has been rough, and I'm worried because it won't be over when Celis comes out, and I'm using gems on her.
Divine boards though, at least.
Yeah. Divine boards. Divine boards. We should be getting a huge portion of that back. 40k gems, 400 summon tickets.
Bunch of tickets, but like I'm, between now and I think I'm doing like 7 gem pulls, so I really need to get my tickets back and get a little bit of ticket luck moving forward in order to be back.
Who are you gem pulling for, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm gemming Aerith and Celis. I'm gemming Terra. I'm gemming. I'm pretty sure a lot of these will depend on how previous pulls go, because like Celis and Aerith, I could be out 150k. Really fucking hope that doesn't happen. But I would love to get Swolbez, because Zaddy Swolbez. And then I think I'm doing gems. Setzer LD comes out with Tidus, right?
Let me look up ahead. Yes, it does. It should be approximately in August.
I think I'm doing gems for that.
Okay.
And then what happens in like June? Oh, Tifa. I'm gemming LD. And I think those are the main. I think those are the main ones that I'm gemming.
I just want to give a quick shout out to IKW. Thank you for the sub, fam. Thank you, appreciate it. Tara, huh? But do you already have her costume? Yeah, right.
I have a wig. The costume is being made right now. Hopefully
I meant in game, not.
Sorry. I thought you were talking about that. I have Tara was the third person I mentioned that I'm gemming. Of course, I'm gemming her. I've got 125K set aside for her. But if I have the burst tokens, then I'll use it. But yeah, for those that don't know, I'm doing a Terra cosplay stream for my Terra LD and burst pulls, which will be a lot of fun. I'm very excited.
That sounds great. Tifo was the best cosplay to date ever. All right, just saying.
Doing a cosplay stream for that too.
Just saying.
Tifa hype.
Tifa hype. Okay, so I guess we're kind of circling back to this. Have you guys done your Transcendence runs yet?
Fuck no.
Oh geez.
Yes, I have.
40. Jin has. I seen his Vincent run. 40. Who did you use? Oh, sorry, Jin. What were you saying?
No, it's fine. Just my Vincent run is on my channel. Like it's a good reference for people that don't have Gabron.
I'm sorry. Slim, thank you for the sub. Appreciate it.
Oh, look at that. IKW.
Wait, IKW with the 5 gifts. Thank
subs,
you.
yo.
Holy shit, dude. Thank you very much. Cheers, man. Cheers.
Cheers.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm sorry, Jen. What were you saying, fam?
I pretty much echoed my points that I already made. That use Vincent if you don't have Gabranth. If you can pull Gabranth. Gabranth is actually easier to use, I'd say, on Transcendence if you pull them because it's designed for Gabranth.
Mm-hmm.
That Insta Break is really convenient, obviously. And he's made for that tier, but if you don't have him, Vincent works wonderfully.
They're both zaddy, so like you can't go wrong with amazing costumes.
Oh dear.
And actually, Vincent, if you want to use Gabranth now, Vincent actually might work pretty well on Transcendence 2 also, which I would be kind of curious to see how he works. I mean, I don't know if I want to redo Tier 1, but Vincent probably would work for Tier 2 as well.
I don't even. I'm literally logging in right now to remind myself what Tier 2 was, because I know during that time, Transcendence 2, that's when we get Ignis and Ferris LDs.
Yeah, it's like with Ferris, it's like he's like a substitute for Ferris, I guess. Like you need to use like elemental damage to do some orbs.
Was that with that damn parrot?
It's the parrots, yeah.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
That one is also frustrating.
Now, okay, so since we're on the Transcendence topic, now going forward, how many Transcendence do we have? The JP?
5.
There's 5, right? So there are 5. Now, from experience, from going forward, that these Transcendences, they seem to be made for specific characters. You know, Transcendence 2, we have Ferris, we have Ignis. Transcendence 3, that's when Leo gets his LD and burst weapon, the left side of the gate. You do have to initiate launch sequences, and you do have to bring a yellow crystal affinity character. Transcendence 4, was that the blob on the left hand side that you had to use cleanses with Yuna? Don't remember.
Yes, 4 was the one with the
blob, and the right side was the scorpion, the guard scorpions.
Yeah.
So during that time we had Barret or Prompto, and then Transcendence 5, the right hand side you had to do wind type damage, and the left side, the Crucible one, was it was the zombies though, some mummies.
The mummies was the middle one for TE5, and that one was pretty. Yeah, that one was pretty brutal.
Legions. Oh my gosh!
Oh! Look at this!
What is going on?
So much generosity right now.
Hype train.
Legions with the gift, Natsu Black with the gift. Honestly,
Liz owes us some drinks now.
Oh, shit. I might have to do a shot here soon. Oh my gosh.
I wish I had some whiskey.
I do want to I do know that people for Transcendence, like
Thank you.
some might be like, oh, I don't want to use this character yet. I kind of want to save him. Like I want to save like Paladin Cecil for future tiers or something like that.
Okay.
I would like to say that as someone who like saved a bunch of units in Entropy and never ended up using them, make your life simple and use the characters that the fight is designed for if you have them, because every Transcendence is every 2 months. So in 2 months, I would assume you would have power crept characters by then. So then there's no need for. I mean, obviously Paladin Cecil is gonna be good for a while, but I'm just saying it as an example. Like you will probably have some of the units that the fight was designed for by the 2 month time. So I wouldn't suggest trying to hold on to too many characters just in case and make your life really difficult for the current tier. You can always redo them anyways, but that's kind of my sense.
Now, do you believe that going forward that players should focus on Transcendence units that, as you said, that these Transcendence were made for specific characters? Do you guys believe it's a good idea for players to save their gems specifically for those characters?
I think it really depends on resources and where they're at with their accounts.
Depends on the player, yeah.
Just like D.
Yeah, because they are fairly restrictive whenever they come out, and there are characters that they specifically highlight that do very well. Like for example, this Transcendence 1 was all about Gabranth, Ramza, and Pestle were like the ones used a lot. And then the next one is going to be
Kais, obviously. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Kais. The next one's going to be Ferris, Garland, and what was it? Aerith. Terra, yeah, Aerith and Terra. Those are going to be like the ones that are highlighted for TE2. But I think it's dependent on your resources, because obviously you're going to have players that they've been playing for a while, but they have their favorites. But sometimes RNG may not treat them well, and then by the time that Transcendence comes around, they won't have the resources to be able to spend on some of these characters that are optimum for Transcendence. Right. But the thing is, the good news about Transcendence is that it's permanent content. So you could always, and some of these characters that are optimum for those Transcendence do come back on other banners. So, you have plenty of opportunities to try to tackle them at your own pace. You don't have to beat them right away. Like you only miss out on it's like 20 tickets and and like 1,000 or so gems or something like that. It's not a lot that you're missing out on if you don't do it right away. Yeah, but I think it's resource dependent. If you have the resources to do so, go for it. If you want to just try to do it right away, but if you don't, there's really no rush to try to do it right away.
Need to complete everything that they should really plan and look ahead at what units they might need. Otherwise, it's not a big deal. It is permanent content. And I was gonna mention, I see Relispin Dragon mentioned it also, but the things that I would save is try to limit your burst, especially if you don't have very little. Try to not overuse burst characters on tier 1. Don't use more than 2 if you can, because you need bursts for synergy. And so for the next tiers, if you might not get the burst character for that tier, you can bring one of your older burst units. It would still be helpful.
True.
That is true. This is burst content, guys. There have been certain crucibles that were done without burst, but some of the ones that I've seen were done with LD characters that came months after that Transcendence came out. So it's still burst content.
Sid Range.
I will say, yeah. I will say that I try. I'm a person who tries to see what's possible, and I tried running no burst on the left tier, the left crucible, and I was these turns are way too tight. I was doing really well, and when I checked, I was already over turn count. I was like, what the? Okay, yeah, I definitely need a burst for this. So it's not really an LD only. You can't do LD only unless you're doing launchers galore or some sort of off turn damage galore. Then that might be possible, but it's not really LD only content.
Yeah, and so how do you guys feel about that Transcendence being burst content? Do you guys feel like that's fair, especially to new players being introduced into the game? Do you guys think that that should just be end game content for players that have been playing for quite a while?
I think it's fair
I think it's fair. Yeah, I don't think
because
newer players. Or go ahead. You can. Yeah, go ahead, Jin.
oh no, I mean you were probably gonna say the same point.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that newer players should concern themselves jumping into the game and looking at Transcendence going like, I need to do that right now, because then you're not going to have any fun with the game. You know, it's there specifically to be end game content. It's like it's like your end goal, at least for now, until they come up with something even crazier. You know, but yeah, for a new player, just clear the story, do your boards, do your lost chapters, because there's a ton of resources that you're going to be, you know, saving up from receiving from doing all of that. So I wouldn't even bother looking at Transcendence as a newer player. You know, it's just not
That
you know, something you should think about at the moment.
that's pretty much what I was gonna say, and focus on like finishing entropy and pathos first. Those two are still going to be difficult for newer players. Like if you're trying to pool to complete Transcendence, you're going to use a lot of resources, and you will run out of resources really quickly as a newer player. You shouldn't expect to be the same as people have playing for 3 years. You shouldn't be expecting to be on that level.
It's like Russ said last time. Was it return on investment?
Yeah, ROI.
So. Yeah, definitely focus on DE entropy, especially if you're a newer player, because the 20 tiers with like red ingots and blue. Yeah, it was just red ingots that you could build up a lot of characters with, and especially as time progresses, you're going to be able to soul a lot of those with a lot of, you know, power creep units later down the line. You know, you don't have to necessarily rush those right now, but I definitely agree with the point that they were saying is that I have always been an advocate that the hardest content that we do receive in the game shouldn't be accessible to new players right off the bat, because how are you going to keep the OGs interested in the game if, you know, the hardest content is easier for even newer players to do? So I'm okay with this, you know, difficulty content, so to say. So definitely follow the advice that was given in terms of focus on the other content before you do take on Transcendence. And this is permanent content, guys. It's not gonna go anywhere. Even me myself on the JP side of the game, I could not do this stuff right off of the bat, right away, because during that time, you know, us not having foresight over there, I didn't have units like a Brown right off the bat. I didn't have Kais with his LD. I didn't have Paladin. Oh man, I regret not pulling Paladin Cecil over there. I cannot do any of that stuff. Even like DE1, DE2, DE3, I think is where I was able to start doing it up. But like I used Sid Reigns and Transcendence 1, because again, I didn't have none of those units during that time. So it is permanent content. Don't stress yourselves. I know that seeing that little red marker or whatever, that there is incomplete content there, do not stress yourselves over that. It is meant to be end game content, and you can always come back later down the line and beat it with different characters.
Yeah, with that red little icon, I see that all the time. I can't remember the last time I had it because there's still actually while we've been doing this, I did finally complete chapter 4, and that was the last like normal mode chapter that I needed to complete. But you're always going to have those red little icons. It's just learning to live with them. But there's a reason why, you know, the content, that type of content is supposed to be cleared in order. It's because they give you materials that you're supposed to use to then advance your characters. Like DE, you get so many nuggets that you can then refine into ingots. That will allow you to progress even further in the game. Like if you're new, you're not in like Transcendence, like everybody said, is not intended for you. You will make yourself crazy trying to do it. Even like people that have been playing the game since day one have trouble with it. It's a really overwhelming game when it first starts. So just focus, like everybody said, Transcendence is permanent content. You might miss out on like a couple time limited rewards. But as far as we know, you know, the DE, the entropy rewards, like maybe those will come back at some point. And when they do, like maybe you'll get a whole bunch of resources. But if you're newer, just focus on like getting, you know, gems and tickets. Don't focus on that, because otherwise you're going to blow your entire resource stash trying to get characters that like maybe you don't even have the resources to like max out their kits if you do get them. So Leave it alone. It's okay to have those little red icons. I live with them every day. So.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I have one more thing to add as far as like Transcendence and new players. So I'm actually giving a shout out to a fellow content creator. TXB Gaming guys actually started a new account on Global. Like I believe it was like late last year, and I was following his journey throughout that, right? And I believe he was able to beat Transcendence already. Like he would always update me on when he was able to do like a DE, and he started off fresh last year. So for those of you that are newer players and are wondering, oh, how long is it going to take me to reach that? You could try talking to TXB Gaming. He also goes by Zeno because he started a newer account not that long ago, and he was able to catch up. But he did play fairly hardcore, but he would update me. He's like, oh, I was able to do this, I was able to do that, and I was actually shocked at how quickly that he moved and was able to catch up. So it's possible. You just gotta put in the time. So for newer players that are wondering,
I think that's a top.
Like for Zeno. Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to say that I think that's something that a player has to understand when you're starting a new gacha game. Now, mind you, gacha game and not spend money, Max Raver, not at all. This is a free to play friendly game. Things that players have to understand when it comes to gacha game is that games like this, it takes time, especially because like Rez and Jin, they play Tales of Cristoria and they actually got me back into it, at least until Disgaea comes back out. You know, stuff like that, it takes.
How dare you?
How dare? Oh shit! It just honestly, it just takes time. Over the course of time, I know players are like, yeah, I want that now. I want the strongest, blah blah blah, whatever. But you have to wait. You have to save your resources. Don't get impatient because at that point, that's when you pretty much blow all your resources. You blow your gems. You blow your tickets. I'm pulling on every single damn banner because you want to get to that point. Jen, where you?
I just want to add about Zeno. About 40 was talking about Zeno. Zeno actually does research on like foresight, on like what units to pull for. He manages his resources really well, and that's how he's able to pick up the units that he needs so that he can continually progress faster than your normal player that spends a lot. And he also started with Aranea, and Aranea crushed so much content for him. So a lot of things did unite to make him progress really fast, but yeah, he definitely is a good.
But he did have experience of the game beforehand, right? Before he started this.
He also did, yeah. He did play and he took a break, and then he came back at around RNA just a little bit before.
Okay. So definitely, if you're a new player, just be patient. You will get there eventually. Just plan your pulls, as as my fellow hosts have been saying. Plan that shit out. Truthfully, plan it out, and you will get there eventually. Don't let the stress.
Planner. Use the Tonberry Troop Planner. It is like I use it religiously. It is how I know that I'm going to be fucked for tickets the next few months.
There's plenty of resources.
There's so many different resources, but like if you're newer, and I think we said this last time, like the biggest thing is just you have so many gems and tickets waiting for you in all of the different content that you have yet to complete. It's going to be super tempting to just do a YOLO multi here, a YOLO multi there, and it's coming from somebody that always did YOLO multis until burst era, basically. Don't do it. Like, gems have so much more power in this game. Like, have fun with tickets. That's what tickets are there for. But save your gems for burst, because like, let's say you spend 10k gems, and this is like an actual thing that YOLO multi turns into a pity, which is what happened with me for Rydia. But those gems, like a YOLO here, a YOLO there, those gems could have gone towards a pity, like a guaranteed weapon. So have fun with your tickets. Use the planner for gems, and just make sure, like any absolute faves, make sure you have enough resources for them, because there are so many gacha games that don't have pity. DFFOO is one of the few that does, so like take advantage of it.
Pity and foresight.
Pity and foresight. Oh my god, foresight! Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, Foresight. The beautiful thing about this game also is that there definitely is a JP side of the game. There are plenty of wonderful JP players out there that post content all the damn time, but we get to see what was done and what was needed. So if you are a newer player, I highly recommend you look into the resources to the players in terms of what to look forward to and what units to pull, because you get I mean, I'm sure all of you guys get asked all the time, who is your next must pull unit. So if you guys are able to understand that and look forward to, or see some of these players in terms of who they recommend in some of these strong units at certain intervals of the game, then that's what I would recommend for sure. So am I not loud enough? I may get soft. Audio, do I have to get close like this? Hey, what's up, guy? How you doing?
Yeah, Lidz ASMR.
Hey. How you doing? Yo.
Sounds good. Man.
Oof, spicy. What are y'all doing later?
This is a late night podcast after all.
Yep. I mean, it's almost. I'm sure where Rez is at, it's midnight. But oh shit, I just need. So we are we're pretty much near the tail end of the podcast, guys. I do want to say that we will be taking some questions, so feel free to ask. But I would love to ask my fellow host, who do you guys believe within the next month, if you guys had to pick one unit, who is the must pull unit? Now I'm talking all of April. So April, we got Emperor, Celeste, Aerith, we got El Nacho with their LDs, we got Aranea, Ishtola, LD, and Burst. Kuja's going to be getting LD boards, potentially Serah if it's not the Typods. We got, what's this way, Type 0, the Archer guy, and we have Tidus's bro, the Waka. If you guys had to pick one of those units, who would you pick and why?
Master Ken. I'm just kidding.
Banned.
Aerith.
Okay.
I used her a lot, and that LD gives her one of the best brave attacks in the game that I've seen. Like, her brave attack becomes like super powerful. Like, she keeps your brave topped off and deals like a big HP damage. It's crazy after you use that LD. I'd say Aerith.
Jin?
I'd say the reworked Serah. She's gonna be super OP. I mean, all that follow up, all the HP damage up she's gonna have. Well, if she gets reworked, she could possibly get reworked. That might be one of them, but we have no idea, obviously. Outside of her, I would say, yeah. I mean, I like Celis too, because tanks are just really fantastic units to have in your party, and the upgrades that she gets from her LD are just like bonkers. I mean, she's been underrated for like her whole EX Plus time, and she was pretty damn good already. Now her LD fixes a lot of issues. She has like AoE lock now. She has like Imperil for the ice, and some sort of like the counter follow up or whatever. Yeah, she's solid, and her and Aerith will be my gem pools. But mostly because of Faves. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. And Rez?
Both stole mine. You both stole mine.
You can repeat.
Celis and Aerith. I mean, I've had so much fun with both of them. I remember 3-3ing Celis when her EX Plus came out, and I remember doing YOLO multis 2 years ago, trying to get her EX way back when, and succeeding on my very last YOLO multi. That's when YOLO multis turn into not YOLO multis. But that's when I was like grinding gems, and as soon as I'd get to 5K, I'd do it, but I got her on the last one. And then when I 3-3'd her, I had so much fun. I brought her to so many different fights. Like, I had like a Celis saga, and I had so much fun bringing her to all these different fights. I really like tank characters in this game. Like, they take away all the anxiety that I have when I'm playing and doing difficult fights. And I made Celis work for a really long time. And you know, I cannot wait for her LD to just bring her to the next level. And I just really hope that she and Aerith are kind to me.
Yeah.
Celeste, that like people underrated her before because they were like, oh, it's a niche magic tank, like only for magic fights. But magic fights are where she destroys the fight. But she's actually a pretty solid tank outside of it also. Yeah,
her bravery fun.
And she's still the only magic tank. No one else does what she does. So she's crushes those magic fights. And then for regular fights, she does fantastic as well. So
the way
don't think of her as only a magic tank.
The way I would explain that
Good.
to players is like the enemies do either one or the other. They do 50-50. They either do physical damage or they either do magic damage. So Celeste can excel in all of those magic damage stages. So, but
And then her bravery fund is great for
Yeah,
not getting like broken on the normal attacks. So
Right.
that's why she works so well.
I agree.
The queen.
I'm definitely for Aerith, but I am planning on potentially picking up Y'shtola's burst early, so I don't have to chase it later. I'm planning like far ahead, later down the line.
Yeah,
when
that's
burst plus becomes a thing, and potentially October, where Y'shtola is amongst the first to receive their burst plus weapons, and she is a support character, and she does become very strong. So my primary goal, I would recommend, or what I would recommend, is definitely Aerith for definitely for the upcoming months for sure. But if you're a future planner, consider Y'shtola for those reasons. All right, guys. So feel free to ask any question, guys, in terms of the game, and any of the hosts can pick them, and we will answer. So
I would suggest that for Y'shtola, I mean, like I would say it's similar to like the Squall situation, where it's like Squall is not like the most fantastic unit that came out at its time, but you can pick it up for the future. But also, like if you don't have the resources, don't chase it first either, just because it becomes better in the future.
I can see that for sure. We actually have our very first question from Classic. Do you think they will be a rerun for Dimensions and Entropy rewards? That's a tough one. I know that they had one for Transcendence, I think, completing up to 3, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure. It could be a possibility. I'm sorry, we can't really answer questions in terms of Square Enix specifically. I hope they would, especially for newer players, so they can collect all those gems. Maybe they'll include them as player mission rewards. I'm not sure, fam. So yeah. Oh shit, Noel is asking very specific questions. Nanaki, why the hell isn't Nanaki in this game yet? Why the hell isn't Nanaki in this game yet? We have Shulk.
They're waiting. They're waiting for the game to tank.
Yeah, right. So why isn't Nanaki in the game? We have Shulk, who is Dirge of Cerberus. It's a spin-off game. Well, a few years after Final Fantasy VII storyline. We have Kadaj, who it's a movie 2 years after Final Fantasy VII. Why the hell isn't Nanaki in the damn game yet? So that's who I want in the game. How about you guys? Is there a character that you guys are looking forward to? Angeal?
Probably Orlando.
Oh, that'd be nice.
And he better be broken.
I was just gonna say, like, we need more Tactics characters. Like 7, I love 7, but we have lots of 7 characters. Tactics, let's get more than 2, please. And we're not talking about like Balthier. We're not talking about Cloud. We're not talking about Aerith.
Nanaki.
Let's get some actual Tactics characters in there.
I could see that. I agree with you. Yes. Rez?
I'm trying to think for any that like aren't coming in. Angeal would be very cool. Since we have Reno and Rude, I think it'd be really fun to see Sung in the game.
Oh yeah.
Cool kit, I think. And I love his aesthetic. So out of like after, the obvious characters like Nanaki and Riku, I would love to see Sung in the game.
I agree.
Agreed. Yeah.
We're talking about like Turks, so we mean like Elena as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I did see an interesting question from Timothy, a little bit of future foresight, that her JP players are getting frustrated with Lufenia Plus. Any advice to global players in preparations? I would say severely pay attention to JP YouTubers. I know VL was here. VL does plenty of Lufenia Plus runs for the JP side of the game. Just look ahead. And the beautiful thing about global is that we have foresight. So I don't think global players are entitled to being mad about Lufenia Plus because we know what's heading our way, so you can definitely plan for it. I don't know how the rest of my fellow hosts feel about that.
This is a topic that I wanted to... Oh, do you want to go first, Jin?
No, go ahead, Forty.
Okay.
You're the JP player.
It's a topic that I actually wanted to avoid talking about because controversy got me a lot of hate before, and I don't need that stress in my life. But seeing as we're together, I'll try to be as objective as I can be. I think for global players, they don't need to freak out because, like we just stated, we have the foresight. Like the reason why, what was it when I went like I literally a day after Transcendence came out, like 20% or 20+% of global players had already done Transcendence 1, and a big factor of that is because of the foresight, because they've watched videos, they have these resources available to them, so they forgot, they allow them to prepare, right? They allow them to prepare themselves ahead of time. So Lufenia Plus shouldn't be like the doomsday for global players because we have time to prepare. It's very early to be concerned about that. For JP players that have put out their thoughts about oh, it's unfair, the character featured is nerfed, blah 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 blah, I can see their points, but at the same time we got to remember it's a gacha game. There's always going to be a way for the company to sell a character or to bring out content where, well, they kind of need to generate revenue at the same time. While we could give constructive criticism or feedback to saying hey, Square Enix, maybe you need to do this or maybe they should do that. They could take into consideration. All in all, remember, guys, it's still a business for Square. And the fact that this game is already so generous, I really don't think the whole Lufenia Plus Doomsday is. I think it's being blown out of proportion. Personally, I think it's being blown out of proportion, and it's something that Global should not be concerned about. It's too early, and you guys have the foresight. So for those of you wondering, hey, 40, what's your thoughts about it? That's my thoughts on it. I think there's nothing to be concerned about. Too early. And even then, you guys have plenty of time to prepare. So
I would say that when the controversy started, obviously I'm not a JP player, so I didn't know exactly much about it. So I did watch and see what the controversy was about. But then, talking to in TCC, I was talking to with Black Nero or Black Cloud. He goes by both. He's a good JP player and a content creator, and we were asking him what is the issue if it's because we know that GL has foresight, and we're wondering is early chaos what's the difference? Is it similar to Lufenia when it came out? Is it similar to when Chaos came out? And it's more similar to when early Chaos came out for Japan, which was really difficult for Japanese players because they don't. I mean, JP players, and they don't have the foresight of the units that they should have pooled before. But then when we got there as GL players, wow! If you looked in JP, you had the units that you should have pooled. It was really much easier, I'd say. But it still was restrictive, and supposedly early Chaos is more restrictive than Lufenia Plus is. So if you got through early Chaos and you had no issue with early Chaos, then I would say Lufenia Plus.
And Rez, being a global player, how do you feel, if anything, about we're still several months away. So wait, 7 months away from Lufenia Plus. How do you feel about that?
I feel nothing. No, I feel the same. I don't play JP. I don't follow JP that much, but I think you even said in the chat just now, I like when games challenge me. It gives incentive to build the characters. When something's difficult, but then I beat it, it gives a much larger sense of accomplishment than something that you can just steamroll through. That being said, I don't know a ton about Lufenia Plus right now. I know a little bit about the backlash it's getting, but I think that no matter what, it's going to be easier for us in global, just in the sense that we will know who to pull for, who to save our resources for. Just in that sense, I think it'll be easier. Not the content itself, but just because we have that foresight, and it's up to you to use that foresight.
Right, and the doom and gloom, there was a lot of doom and gloom when early Chaos was released, and it's fine now. So it's the start of it is a little bit more restrictive than JP players would like, but eventually you get stronger and stronger characters, and it becomes more and more easy, I would say. So it becomes more and more less restrictive, and it's not the doom of the game, right? I would say
it's not.
How satisfying was it to go back and absolutely stomp those count steams when Deuce's Lost Chapter came out? I know I couldn't beat it on release, and then finally I got a slightly stronger team, and it was so satisfying to just murder them.
Fang Chaos. Whoa.
back. Oh my gosh, Fang Chaos. I remember doing like PAX, 2 years ago, and it oh my gosh, it was such a fucking nightmare.
What I like to tell viewers, and other people is like this kind of does remind me, as as you guys were saying, of the early Chaos era. I do believe it does feel that way. There was definitely a jump in difficulty spike, because this definitely is a little bit more restrictive, the Lufenia Plus era at least. But I believe that over the course of time, it will pan out, especially as Burst Plus characters, more of them get introduced. So right now, it is a little bit rough. Global players, we have no excuses. We have foresight, so it shouldn't be an issue. But I do believe that, over the course of time, it will pan out. We will get more power creep units to the point where it'll be all right, so to say. So, yeah. Any more questions?
I also say, for JP players, it's harder for them because they don't understand the fight too, like the text that pops up and whatever, they're kind of blind in that sense.
Mhm.
So those fights could be a lot harder if you don't know what's going on. Obviously for us, Tumberry Troop, I just shout them out. The Lufenia research page on the Tumberry Troop is amazing.
Yes.
They list exactly what percentages of HP something happens, what you need to do for the orbs to tick. If JP players had something like that, it would be so much easier, I'm sure. It's on GL we have a lot easier.
Yeah, the boss guys on Macdonald's Dissidia info is just it goes even more in depth. It's the fact that we have all these amazing resources will make it a lot more bearable.
I agree. Definitely agree. Do you guys see any questions you guys would like to answer?
Well, we did have one. We did have one earlier. So, with Global First LDs, do we prefer LDs to come out for characters that need a rework desperately, like Fang or Lilith, or for them to not get the LD and wait until they get a good rework later down the line in JP and an LD?
Whoa. That's a tough one, because I think it really depends on what their LD does for them, kind of like Balthier and Vincent. Because Vincent alone with his attack down and brave down potencies was pretty strong, and him being able to follow up with his LD. Balthier just being an aura bot now, but also being able to steal buffs from the. That's a tough one, because I really think it depends on their character, on their base kit already, and what the LD can do for them. Because if Global First LD can just add on to what their base kit already does and just improve on it, I think it will be fine if they don't get reworks. But that's just how I feel. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
So far they haven't really missed on the Global First, especially after our experience with the characters that they just gave us, Vincent and Balthier. So I kind of trust their gauge on it's either been super OP or it's been a nice release at the time. So I don't have any issue with what they decide to do, but I do anticipate that from now on they will have to have at least LD boards so that we can.
Yes. 40, how do you feel about that, fam?
I'm pretty much in agreement with Jin on that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Although I saw a good question, but I know we're on a current question right. Someone asked, speaking of count teams, who do you think is the worst boss in the game, both past and future?
Fucking Lufenia. Oh, I cursed there. The Lena Chaos. No, EX. Lena Chaos.
Lena
EX.
Oh, that's mine. I don't know what you guys say, but Lena EX.
70 shamans from Fang. Fuck those guys.
I would have to say Lena EX, also because I didn't have the units or the foresight at that point. I wasn't really planning and playing very seriously at that time, so I did not have the power stones to build Lena. I did not have King, so that was the only EX battle that I could not complete. That was the only content I've ever not completed.
40.
I would say the Agrius Cosmos event, when that first came out, that was awful. Even with Agrius, that was awful.
That was rough.
That one was pretty brutal. And then in the future, like talking from JP, probably the mummies in Transcendence 5, but we still got a ways to prepare for that because you that fight forces you to really play
How-
by the rules. You don't play by the rules, you'll die.
How about Divine Alexander 40?
Oh yeah. Oh my
3
gosh.
months, June. That one's rough. Good
I'm
luck.
gonna be honest. I cheated to beat that. I did the Gladio bug.
Boo.
I didn't do it
Hey,
the right way.
might as well.
It's brutal.
You
I'm
were
just
gonna
being
get it?
honest. I'm gonna try it for real on global, but it's brutal. That even the chaos challenge for that is pretty brutal. That one is brutal.
Oh, that one's rough. Do you guys
Yeah.
remember the Maria Spark guys?
Oh, that glitch. I
yeah.
took advantage of the capacitance glitch.
I still at least got that one.
Well,
I would say like that whole era was quite difficult though because they were bringing fights for characters we should have, but we didn't yet.
Oh, when they-
it was pretty
so
rough
that was
because they were mixing around things.
What was
They were mixing around. They gave us early EX fights, and we were supposed to have like level 60 characters. We were supposed to
Right.
have like Kefka, and there was so much stuff changing around that the fights became ridiculously hard because we didn't have the stronger units we were supposed to have.
Right, and I know during that time the team like now guys like now we have the abilities to play a little bit more with our team compositions, but back in the day like the top tier team back then was Saz, Aiko, and Sephiroth.
Sephiroth, yeah, that was the team.
That was
I
the
was able to
team.
do. Yeah.
P team.
For the Chaos era, and then I guess King because he had the capabilities to refresh his ability usages, so he was a replacement for Sephiroth, at least for the Lena event. Oh man,
King was MVP for that. If you didn't have King, it was really
it was tough.
I didn't have King. We didn't get King EX until I got him as a fucking off banner recently. When
I should have quit then.
I did not make things annoying, but I survived.
Yeah, that was rough. What a great time, guys, that we experienced back in the day. You guys remember the Dark Knight Cecil? If you didn't have Dark Knight Cecil, the host would disband.
Oh, for
You guys
co-op.
remember that when he got his? I think it was his 35 CP weapon during Cryal.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow, that is such a throwback.
Oh yeah. Where
So many
score
throwbacks.
meant something or something like that. How was co-op
you
back
needed to
then?
get a certain amount of a score to be done with co-op. It was
that.
kind of like a raid, but then it
Yeah.
was not as easy as a raid. You needed the actual like launch scores.
I hated that era, man. I really did. I really did. If you guys see any more questions, be sure to pull them up. But just a few more minutes, guys. So if you have any good questions, feel free to ask. But damn.
Okay, I have a question. I also saw this question before too.
Mhm.
As JP players, what would be people are becoming and getting over the limit burst tokens now. They kind of are at the point where they have to use them if they haven't used them already. Who would you suggest that they should token?
Garland.
Garland.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm glad-
I agree with that.
Yeah. That's the person that pretty much everyone seems to be on agreement with. Is Garland. His burst effect is broken.
So I guess
It
right
is
now,
pretty broken.
Cecil, if he's still available right now, maybe a Cecil would be ideal overall. But after that, I would definitely say Garland, especially because he does receive a burst plus with Lion and Rain, the twins. So future wise, and honestly, like there's a bunch of Lufenias that require being delayed, especially when Cloud of Darkness comes out. There's probably one where he might struggle. I think with Queen, we had to delay them by 3 turns. But even during Cypher, because Cypher does have the capabilities to delay, during just Lufenias that you need delay, Garland, he was used for a very long time. So
I would give a counterpoint to like trying to save for Garland instead of using it on Pestle, because I would say that originally I did want Pestle's burst too. I wasn't able to get it, but his LD effect is truly what makes him broken, because he's a good unit for a long time. So to have his burst is just a nice bonus, so that you can have him as a stronger unit down the line. But you probably won't be using his burst if he's if you have other burst units with him, you probably won't be using his burst because you'll be using like the DPS's burst window. He's not there for damage, so the LD is really what you need for Pestle. And if you have his burst, it just extends his longevity. But then usually you might not be using his burst.
Right. But yeah, no. I mean, if you guys are thinking about it, Garland is definitely within the next few months. Garland is definitely a very strong, viable option to pick up as a burst character for your burst tokens if you can make it that far. Right now, Palin says if you guys can't make it into probably the end of May, I would maybe Ishtola only because of the burst plus era. Aside for that, Terra, but I would definitely say Garland. Yes.
You should token Serah just because she is a girl.
I mean,
obviously, wait to token after you've done pooling.
Right. Especially if you get free multi-jaws, because I have heard the wonderful horror stories of, hey, I just pitied their burst, and look what I just got for free, like a banner later. Just wait.
I mean, I know people that went to 800 G tokens on Paladin Cecil's initial LD banner. It's like, what you should do, you should do what Rez did. You need to go stop at 300 G tokens and wait to see what you get down the line from the next banner. Rez thankfully got the burst. Yeah, and she picked up the LD and she got the burst in the other banners. So don't go to 800 G tokens ever on the first banner.
Yeah,
it's not smart.
Oh my god.
It's a big chunk of resources for possibly getting screwed later on other banners. Because even the free daily could possibly give you a burst.
True.
It's just not worth going 200k right away.
And they made
avoid
go ahead.
Free daily on Paladin Cecil's LD banners because if I get the LD on the free after pitying it, I would rage. But yeah, I mean, like we've said in the past, like I am one of the most impatient people that I know and that I'm sure many of you know. And even if like you get to a point where you have to decide whether or not to pity the burst or use it with tokens, just wait, especially if we're getting, even if you're not planning on pulling on other banners, but we get free multis, just wait. Because it's happened so many times in like all of our Discord servers where, you know, we see people like pity the burst or token the burst. And then we're all like, really hope you don't get a dupe on one of the frees, and it happens every single time without fail.
Yeah, and it's at a point where the initial LD and burst debut banner lasts the entire timeline of when that character's burst weapon is featured, you know, on all their banners. So you could, it's a matter of patience. So I know you guys want it like right now, but just wait. So, all right, guys. So I think one more question because it is pretty late. I'm sure Rez is like probably 1 o'clock. Jin Lee, it's lunchtime over there, and 40, it's like still
I'm hungry.
For you. So one more question, guys. I don't know if you guys just spot one, feel free, but that's it.
I will not be up for 3 hours. I fell asleep at 3 last night. Migraine.
You guys picked the last question. You guys can fight for it. That's to my fellow host.
Who wants to pick?
How about
40? You pick one.
How about Rez? Since you just spoke up, pick the last question.
Okay. There was one a little while ago. When are we gonna have our next pull battle royale?
When Lulu gets her LD weapon.
Yes, the goth waifu.
Wait,
yes.
Is that really the last question? That's not the last question. Another last question. A real one.
No, really. When are we going to do another full battle royale, the 4 of us?
I don't know. We'll have to talk.
We have to be on somebody that all of us that want to gem for.
Yeah, I don't want to gem Serah.
Because spoilers, I'm not going to gem Lulu.
Banned. How about Buck?
I've already decided that we're
Garland. Are we all going for Garland?
No.
All right. Shit. So we'll have to talk about that one, guys. But
yeah.
That's not a real question.
Okay. Somebody else choose a question.
All right.
I see one, unless someone else wants to go. Okay. So what do you think that they will introduce for a new weapon for characters that don't have BT? I don't think they're going to introduce a new weapon for characters that don't have BT. But what they are going to do, which was already talked about on the global stream, and it's already been taught. I think they brought it up on one of those Ope streams for
Yes, they
JP.
did.
Is they are going to be improving EX abilities, because EX abilities at this point they're probably the weakest choice skill wise for a majority of characters, except for some of the more current ones. Because there are some EXs that are still really good, but like they're going to be improving EX abilities, which is great. But as far as like a weapon for characters that don't have burst, I don't think that's going to happen. The reason why those characters have burst is because they're the protagonist. Now, I think in the future, if DFFOO continues to do well, maybe every character might have a burst, and we'll see how that works. I hope that doesn't happen though, because imagine having a burst. I know. Imagine every.
I feel like there'd just be a new tier of weapons that everyone gets.
I agree.
Eventually.
Yeah, that
It'd
everyone
probably just
gets.
be another weapon.
Or like a better World of Illusions weapon for every character.
Oh, jeez.
Like an actual legit one, not like, Yuna's.
Yeah, that'd
that
just be a new tier. Yeah, oh god.
Yeah.
My inventory because I got it ready.
Hey, when we need lightning damage, and we're gonna use her for brave.
Yeah, it's horrible that some of them were really bad, the earlier ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with 40 100%. If they do introduce a new weapon, it's going to be for everybody, not just locked behind the units that didn't get burst weapons, EX plus. I don't know. I believe that it could be an addition to their LD boards, or not LD, I'm sorry, their character boards. I don't know how the rest of my hosts feel about that, but I 100% agree.
Like the EX rework, we have to pull their EXs anyway, so it's not like an additional gacha. So they're gonna add an additional gacha event. Pool for armor.
What they should introduce is seasonal costumes. Give me a summer Tifa.
Summer Sephiroth. I call it right now.
Summer Tifa. Summer Terra. Summer
Rydia.
And then these seasonal costumes have extra stat boosts and
stop, Jin. No.
And abilities.
Summer Steiner. No, just kidding.
Yes, there we go. Hey, my legend. Ah, shit. All right. Oh, Teddy's awake. Hi, Teddy.
Teddy.
All right, guys. So that was the very last question. Look how adorable Teddy looks. But that is it for the stream, guys. It is definitely late, at least for half of us here. But thank you guys for joining us today. If my fellow hosts would like to say where they may be found, starting with Rez, please do so.
Hi guys, thanks so much for tuning in. This was so much fun. I hope you guys had fun too. You can find me on Twitch and YouTube, and we've got a pretty wholesome Discord.
Jin Lee.
Thanks everyone for joining. This has been like 2 hours, and it's late for probably quite a few people as well. So I think this is our longest podcast or whatever this is. Yeah. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining. You can find me on YouTube, Jin Lee, and thanks to my hosts as well.
And the one, the only, the Godfather for the Broadway Saiyan.
Thanks for joining us again, guys. This is always fun to talk DFFOO with y'all. You guys can find me on Discord, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitch.
Oh, yes. Jin forgot to mention OnlyFans. But Lidz here, YouTube and Twitch. All right, guys. So thank you guys for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. And we will see you guys next time. All right. Thank you very much. Take care.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.